Hi, my name is Elizabeth Wells, and I'm here today continuing to talk about rest and the importance of rest. And today we're talking about rest for social activists. And you might wonder why a social activist needs to rest. I mean, they're on the front lines, and there is climate change and the environment, and there is civil unrest, and there's democracy, and there's a host of other things going on in this country and this world. But I maintain that even social activists need to stop and take a break. And I will tell you why. You might want to know that I grew up with peace activists. One of my earliest memories is marching in Washington at the age of 5 years old. My mom was with Women's Strike for Peace, an organizer for them, a community organizer. And we had meetings in our home, and there were marches, and there were political discussions around the family table at dinner at night and on the nightly news. This was the time of Vietnam and civil rights and much more going on in this country and in the world. But my parents also knew how to party. They knew how to throw a party. And my father had his tennis and my mom had her yoga, and they both had their work, and they both had us kids. They had a balance. They had a balance. But today, and in recent years, I hear a lot of out of balanced people. That's kind of a funny thing to say, but I have spoken with individuals who were on the front lines and like, how's it going? And they're like, I got burnt out. I'm not doing that anymore. Burnt out. I hear people not being able to sleep, being truly anxious and concerned about the climate, and it's affecting their lives. And my heart aches for them. And this is one reason why social activists need to rest. I'm going to go into this a little bit more right now with a quote by Thomas Merton. Thomas Merton was an American Trappist monk, a writer and author, a theologian, a mystic, a social activist and scholar, a poet, and he was world renowned in his service to this world. And this is the quote: "There is a pervasive form of contemporary violence to which the idealist fighting for peace by nonviolent means most easily succumbs: activism and overwork. The rush and pressure of modern life are a form, perhaps the most common form, of its innate violence. To allow oneself to be carried away by a multitude of conflicting concerns, to surrender to too many demands, to commit oneself to too many projects, to want to help everyone is to succumb to violence. More than that, it is a cooperation in violence. The frenzy of the activist neutralizes their work for peace. It destroys their own inner capacity for peace. It destroys the fruitfulness of their work because it kills the inner wisdom which makes their work fruitful." Thomas Merton. When I first read this quote, I thought the use of the word violence was a little heavy-handed. But if you think of the word violence as in violating perhaps oneself, one's own sense of peace, one's own sense of balance or equilibrium, then I can understand it. Trespassing against your own heart. If you were to look at this physically, if you're marching or working and you haven't stopped to eat or you haven't stopped to drink, your blood sugar will plummet. You will get dehydrated. You will find yourself harming yourself in that activism and overwork, to put it in a very physical way. I don't think Thomas Merton was saying, don't make your voices heard. He himself was an activist. But to take the time for rest, to take a moment for beauty, for contemplation, to fortify your own peace. What rest provides the social activist with is a moment to hear your own heart or that of another's, to hear the hurt or the anger or the rage or the fear, to not keep putting that aside and pressing that down. Yes, that may fuel some of the activism and over zealousness, but you want activism that is not overzealous. You want to be able to hear your own voice, the voices of your people that are hurting, and the voices of those who are different from you. You want to be able to take a break so that when you go and sit across from the aisle, you will be able to reach out and listen, not in an us versus them kind of way, but in understanding, to find a common bridge between you. And you might think there's no common bridge here. There is nothing we have in common. But I would wager to say there always is. There always is. You will be able to return to your work, your mission, your passion, fortified with your own peace, with your own resolve to continue. And you will be able to hear beyond the words into the needs of people and where their true desire resides for a safer, more peaceful world. So I'm going to tell you how to do this in a moment. In 1991, I was on a plane in January going from New York to Arizona, and I was coming to visit my parents. And the Gulf War had just started, and it was storming and raining, and it was a very tense time. And I sat next to two amazing people. One was a pastor from Long Island, and the other was a young woman like myself. And we talked and we shared and we bonded. And we were very different, but there was a warmth in being able to speak and share with them for the 5-hour flight to Arizona. My parents picked me up. I went home, I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning with the news on. And my parents didn't often have the news on during the day. And the fervor of the war and us just having entered the war was at its pitch. And I could feel it pressing on my nervous system. The tenor of the voices, hearing the activity of war. And I asked my parents, I said, please, rather emphatically, please, can we turn this off? Because it was going and going and going. And nothing we did sitting there was going to push or stop or further. And it wasn't that I didn't care or that they didn't care very deeply. In fact, we cared so much that we wanted to know what was going on every second. But there needed to be a care for our own hearts as well, not to be engulfed in the Gulf War, not to be totally taken down by this, but to have a clear seeing of what was going on. So my suggestion for social activists today, and this might sound really radical to you, is to occasionally take a news fast. And you can also take a snooze fast at that moment, but push a button, take a break from the news. Turn the alerts off. Greatest news alert, breaking news. Turn the alerts off your phone, off your computer for an hour, for a half a day, for one day. And have a plan to do something completely unrelated. Because if you don't, you're going to be thinking. So go bake a cake. Go be out in the sunlight. Go play some ball. Take a snooze. Read a book. Do something different and rest your mind away from the pitch, the fervor of what is ailing you in this world, so that you will better be able to return to it with a fuller heart to be in service. That's how you do it. You take a news fast and you have something else planned for yourself. during that time. And if you can do this once a day for an hour, if you can do it a half a day every week or a full day every week, wow. Or try 3 days. Try it, see what happens. The news will still be there when you get back. Your work, your mission, your passion is still going to greet you. The papers and everything you have to do will not go away, but you will return to it fuller. You will return to it with the innate wisdom that lives in you that brought you to this work. You will return to it with your love for humanity and your concern and care to pursue this love in service to a more beautiful world. If you're enjoying this video, please press the comment, the like, the share, the subscribe button. It helps me, and it might help another social activist. And now Gordy has a word for you. Right now, Gordy has been traveling, and he's in Africa. And he took time, he wants you to know, he took time to paint a picture of the beautiful land there. He wants you to know that the giraffe poaching statistics are shocking. For those of you who don't know, Gordy is a giraffe. And the overall giraffe population has plummeted 40%. And an estimated only 68,000 giraffes now remain in the wild. The population of Nubian giraffes has declined 98% in the past roughly 40 years. And some subspecies of giraffes are considered critically endangered. So he's over there working very hard, and he's also taking time from his work to enjoy the land and document the land with his painting abilities. And he sends his love and says he will be back soon. Thank you for taking this time today and sharing it with me and Gordy over in Africa. And please check out my course on how to rest. Peace be with you today. Peace be with you and with our world.